When you stop scattering your energy on the noise of the world and turn it inward, power awakens. The outer life is only a mirror. What you see is a reflection of what you carry within. When you focus on yourself, you step into alignment with divine order, and suddenly, doors open where there were walls. Silence is not weakness, it is strength. In silence, you rise above conflict, confusion, and fear. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer beg, you command. The law is simple, as within, so without. The moment you correct your thoughts, your beliefs, your words, life corrects itself. Detach from what others do, say, or think. Their path is not yours. When you focus fully on your own growth, your own vision, your own alignment, everything else falls into place with ease. Stand still, stay silent, focus inward, and watch the unseen arrange all things in your favor. Inner focus creates outer order. The world you see outside of you is nothing more than a mirror of the world you hold within. If your mind is scattered, your life will be scattered. If your thoughts are filled with fear, your path will be filled with obstacles. But the moment you begin to bring order to yourself, your thoughts, your emotions, your words, you will see that order reflected in every circumstance. This is not chance. This is not accident. It is law. What you cultivate within, you will inevitably experience without. Most people spend their energy trying to rearrange the outside world, pushing, pulling, forcing, complaining, and yet nothing seems to change. They try to control people, events, and outcomes, but they forget that life is only echoing what they silently carry within. You cannot fix the mirror by smudging the reflection. You must clean the face that stands before it. The moment you focus on yourself, on your alignment, on your faith, on your discipline, the reflection shifts naturally. The chaos outside dissolves when the chaos inside is replaced with order. Silence is your greatest weapon. It is in silence that your inner power expands. When you remain silent, you no longer waste energy in arguments, explanations, or defenses. You are no longer distracted by what others think of you, say about you, or expect from you. Silence is not weakness. It is supreme control. In silence, your mind becomes clear, and in clarity, you begin to hear the deeper voice, the voice that always knows the way. Every time you choose silence over reaction, you are choosing strength over weakness. You are stepping into the authority that life recognizes and obeys. When you focus on yourself, you stop chasing. Chasing is a declaration of lack. It says, I do not have, and therefore I must pursue. But when you are inwardly aligned, when you are rooted in the certainty that what belongs to you cannot be withheld, then things begin to flow towards you without effort. You do not chase opportunities. Opportunities are drawn into your presence. You do not beg for recognition. Recognition arrives at your doorstep. This is the hidden power of inner focus. It magnetizes the good that belongs to you. Faith in the unseen is the fuel that makes this possible. You cannot see the roots beneath the ground, yet you know the tree is held by them. You cannot see the wind, yet you see its effects everywhere. In the same way, you may not see the immediate evidence of your inner focus, but if you persist, the results must appear. The law never fails. Hold the vision in silence. Keep your thoughts disciplined. Speak words of life, not of doubt. Each thought is a seed, and the soil of your inner world will return the harvest in due season. Detach from the noise around you. The world will try to distract you with its fear, with its anger, with its endless stream of opinions. None of that belongs to you. The moment you stop trying to fix everyone else, stop trying to correct what others are doing, and bring your attention back to yourself, peace enters. What is not your responsibility will fall away. What is meant for you will rise and stay. The world outside you only arranges itself when you arrange yourself. Remember this, you are not at the mercy of circumstances. You are not a victim of chance. You are a creator by law. Every thought you allow, every word you speak, every belief you hold becomes the architecture of your reality. If you continue to feed on chaos, your life will reflect chaos. If you discipline your mind to focus on faith, order, peace, and strength, then your life will inevitably show these things. There is no exception. Life is not random, it is precise. The universe reflects you faithfully, and it will never betray the pattern you give it. Do not waste your energy in comparison. The moment your eyes wander to the path of another, you lose your power. Their journey is not your journey. Their success is not your success. Their lessons are not your lessons. Look within. Focus on what you must become. Focus on what you must release. Focus on what you must cultivate. When you stop measuring yourself against others, you discover the freedom to rise in your own timing. And in your timing, everything falls into place without struggle. When you focus on yourself, you grow roots that no storm can uproot. You become centered, unshakable, certain. Circumstances may shift, people may come and go, but you remain grounded. And because you are grounded, you do not fear loss. You do not fear delay. You do not fear uncertainty. You know that as long as your inner world is aligned, your outer world must follow. Order cannot help but manifest where order has already been established within. Stand still, stay silent, and focus inward. This is the greatest discipline and the highest freedom. Life is not conquered by force, it is conquered by alignment. When you align yourself, you need not fight for what is yours. You need not strive for recognition, for provision, for peace. It will come because it must. The outer world is bound by law to reflect the inner. Focus on yourself and watch everything fall into place. Silence strengthens power. In silence, you gather strength that the world cannot touch. The noise of the crowd drains energy, but silence restores it. Every moment you remain still, without the need to argue, defend, or prove. You rise above those who waste their power in endless chatter. Silence is not emptiness, it is concentration. It is the place where your true authority grows. The one who can remain silent has already mastered the world. Because silence is the sign of inner security. When you no longer need to explain yourself, you reveal that you already know who you are. Most people weaken themselves with unnecessary words. They argue over small things. They defend every opinion. They speak before listening. And in doing so, they scatter their power. Words should be chosen with precision. A single word spoken in faith is more powerful than 1,000 words spoken in fear. When you practice silence, your words become rare, and because they are rare, they carry weight. You will not need to shout to be heard. Your silence will give strength to your voice, and when you do speak, it will cut through noise like a sword. Silence is the shield of the wise. It guards you against the traps of anger, gossip, and confusion. When others try to provoke you, silence protects you from falling into their chaos. When the world pulls you into arguments and debates, silence pulls you higher into clarity. What others see as weakness is your greatest advantage. In silence, you do not lose control, you take full control. Nothing can disturb the one who has mastered silence. For silence is not the absence of sound, but the presence of power. When you are silent, you give room for divine order to move. You stop interfering, and life begins to arrange itself. So many lose their blessings by speaking too soon, by doubting aloud, by confessing fear. But when you remain silent in faith, unseen forces work for you. Silence gives space for the invisible to take form. The answers you seek rise in stillness. The solutions you need appear when you stop filling the air with noise. Silence is the secret chamber where miracles are prepared before they show themselves. You cannot hear guidance if you are always speaking. You cannot see clearly if your mind is restless with constant words. Silence makes you receptive. In silence, wisdom enters. In silence, strength gathers. In silence, vision becomes clear. And once you see with clarity, you no longer need to chase, to beg, or to explain. You simply move with quiet authority, knowing the power behind you is greater than anything before you. The world rewards noise, but true power is always silent. The seed grows in silence beneath the soil. The sun rises in silence, bringing light without announcement. The greatest forces move without a sound, yet nothing can resist them. So too must you learn the strength of silence. Do not waste your voice in proving your worth. Do not waste your breath in defending your destiny. Remain still, and let your results speak for you. The louder the noise around you, the more powerful your silence becomes. Silence is also the discipline of trust. When you keep silent, you show that you believe. You no longer need to rush with words to convince yourself or others. Silence is the language of certainty. It declares, I already know it is done. To speak in fear is to undo your own faith. To remain silent in faith is to seal your desire and let it manifest. The one who is silent walks with unseen strength. They do not argue with appearances, for they know appearances will change. They do not explain their dreams to doubters, for they know doubt is powerless against silence. Guard your silence as you would guard a treasure. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, your plans, your visions. Many things should be spoken only when they are already accomplished. Too often people lose their strength by revealing everything too soon. In silence, you preserve your energy, your dreams, your goals. In silence, your vision grows roots, deep and unshakable. By the time the world sees the fruit, the roots are already too strong to be destroyed. Silence also teaches patience. You cannot be silent if you are restless. But when you are at peace, silence becomes natural. Patience in silence builds unshakable faith. You stop trying to force timing, and timing begins to serve you. You stop trying to push outcomes, and outcomes begin to align for you. Silence is the seedbed of perfect timing. It is the mark of one who knows that everything they need is already moving toward them. When you master silence, you no longer fear rejection, delay, or misunderstanding. You no longer feel the urge to explain your every step because you know the world will understand later. The silent one is always underestimated, but the silent one always wins. While others waste time in noise, you are building strength. While others are defending themselves, you are preserving energy. While others scatter power, you are gathering it. Silence strengthens power, and power in silence conquers everything. Faith in the unseen brings results. What you see with your physical eyes is only the smallest part of reality. The true power lies in what cannot yet be seen. Every great change, every blessing, every breakthrough first exists in the invisible. To believe only in what is visible is to limit yourself to what already is. But when you put faith in the unseen, you open the door to what can be. Faith is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. It is the seed planted in darkness that guarantees a harvest in light. Without faith, the unseen remains unseen. With faith, the unseen becomes inevitable. Most people live trapped by appearances. They look at their circumstances and decide that is all there will ever be. They allow lack to convince them that abundance is impossible. They allow delay to convince them that destiny is denied. They forget that appearances are temporary. What is seen is always shifting. What is unseen is eternal. The one who trusts the unseen holds the advantage, for they do not bow to the illusion of the moment. They walk in certainty that the higher order is at work, rearranging everything in their favor. Faith is not wishing, faith is knowing. It is standing in the middle of lack and declaring abundance is already yours. It is walking through uncertainty with the calm assurance that the path is already prepared. Faith does not need evidence, for faith itself is the evidence. The unseen responds to faith the way soil responds to a seed. The soil does not demand proof of the seed's potential. It simply brings forth what the seed contains. So too does life bring forth the unseen when faith is planted. You cannot measure faith by words alone. True faith is revealed in silence, in composure, in expectation. The one who truly believes does not waver, does not beg, does not chase. They know the unseen is working, and they carry themselves accordingly. Their steps are steady. Their words are aligned. Their energy is unmoved. This certainty is what causes results to unfold. The unseen is commanded by conviction, not by desperation. Every great achievement began as unseen thought. Every fortune began as unseen vision. Every healing began as unseen belief. Nothing you desire will appear until it is first accepted in the unseen realm of your mind and spirit. The moment you believe without doubt, you give life to what was hidden. The unseen is always ready to manifest, but it waits for your agreement. Fear agrees with failure. Faith agrees with success. Fear agrees with loss. Faith agrees with gain. What you agree with inwardly, you will see outwardly. Do not be deceived by delay. Delay is not denial. When the farmer plants the seed, he does not dig it up the next day in doubt. He knows the harvest is certain though unseen. Your faith must hold the same discipline. Hold steady. Continue to believe when nothing looks possible. Continue to declare it is done though no evidence has appeared. Faith in the unseen brings results because it refuses to surrender to appearances. Appearances are only temporary shadows. Faith is the permanent light that dissolves them. You must train your mind to trust what it cannot yet see. This requires discipline. The world will offer you endless reasons to doubt. Circumstances will rise to challenge your belief. Others may mock or question you. But the one who remains unshaken will always see the unseen become seen. The louder the storm of appearances, the stronger your faith must be. Stand still. Do not fight the illusion with fear. Stand in the certainty that the unseen is greater, and the unseen will always win. Faith does not chase results, it produces them. When you believe deeply enough, life rearranges to meet your belief. Doors open where there were walls. Opportunities appear where there were none. People arrive at the right moment. Resources gather, paths clear. These are not coincidences. They are the inevitable results of unseen faith brought into form. Faith is the architect, and reality must follow the design. Guard your words, for words reveal your faith. Do not speak of what you fear, for fear is faith in the wrong direction. Speak only what you choose to see. When you declare abundance, health, peace, and success, even in the absence of evidence, you are commanding the unseen into motion. Each word becomes a seed, and seeds in faith cannot fail. The unseen is obedient to faith, and results will always appear in their season. Faith is the greatest wealth, for with it, everything else is gained. Without it, even the greatest resources slip away. Faith in the unseen is not optional. It is the very foundation of creation. As long as you depend only on what you see, you remain limited. As soon as you trust what is unseen, you step into limitless possibility. The unseen has no boundaries. It is endless supply, endless opportunity, endless creation waiting to be called forth by your belief. Faith in the unseen brings results because it aligns you with the true order of life. The invisible always precedes the visible. The root always comes before the fruit. The cause always comes before the effect. When you place faith in the unseen, you place yourself at the level of cause, and the effects must follow. Nothing can resist the law. Believe in what is not yet seen, and soon it will stand before you as undeniable fact. Detachment from chaos strengthens the soul. Chaos belongs to the world, but peace belongs to you. The moment you detach from the confusion around you, you reclaim your power. The noise of others, the storms of circumstances, the endless rush of demands, none of these can touch you when you choose to remain centered. Chaos only has power over the one who engages it. When you refuse to enter the battle, chaos dissolves without a fight. Detachment is not indifference, it is wisdom. It is the understanding that your energy is too valuable to be wasted in disorder. Most people live as servants of chaos. They chase every distraction. They react to every voice. They worry over every storm. In doing so, they scatter their strength. Life is filled with movement, but not all movement is progress. To detach is to choose carefully what deserves your attention. Not everything requires your reaction. Not every voice deserves your answer. Not every storm deserves your energy. Detachment is mastery. The one who chooses calm when chaos is loud demonstrates true authority. Chaos will always exist outside, but it only enters when you open the door. The world shouts for your attention, pulling you into arguments, comparisons, fears, and doubts. But if you guard your inner world, the noise cannot penetrate. Detachment is the wall that keeps peace within. It does not mean you run away from life. It means you stand in the middle of life untouched by its storms. You see the confusion, but you do not absorb it. You hear the noise, but you do not let it enter. You walk in clarity while others drown in distraction. Detachment allows clarity. When you step back from the storm, you can see the path. When you stop reacting, you begin responding with wisdom. When you no longer allow yourself to be ruled by chaos, you rise above it and command the outcome. Problems that seemed impossible shrink the moment you stop feeding them with attention. Detachment removes their power because your energy is no longer fueling them. What you stop fighting often resolves itself. What you stop fearing loses its grip. Chaos cannot survive without your participation. To detach is to trust. It is knowing that life will arrange itself without your constant interference. Many hold tightly to every detail, trying to control people, events, and timing. But the tighter the grip, the greater the struggle. Detachment is releasing the need to force and allowing order to unfold naturally. It is stepping aside so that divine order can move. The one who trusts no longer clings, and because they no longer cling, their hands are open to receive. Chaos is born of control. Peace is born of surrender. You do not need to fix everything. You do not need to answer every challenge. You do not need to carry every burden. Detachment is the discipline of choosing what belongs to you and leaving the rest behind. You cannot live in peace while dragging every weight. Let go of what is not yours. Release the arguments that steal your energy. Release the opinions that seek to bind you. Release the conflicts that are not your battle. Detachment is freedom, and freedom is strength. Chaos is loud, but silence is stronger. Chaos is fast, but stillness is wiser. Detachment creates silence and stillness within, no matter the storm outside. It is the ability to say, "This does not belong to me," and to walk forward in peace. Do not confuse this with weakness. Detachment is not retreat. It is power under control. It is the calm of one who knows they are unshaken. It is the authority of one who refuses to bow to appearances. Detachment protects your vision. Dreams cannot grow in the soil of chaos. Visions cannot flourish in the noise of constant distraction. When you detach, you create space for focus, for clarity, for discipline. You give energy to what truly matters. You stop scattering your attention on the meaningless and begin investing in the meaningful. Chaos demands reaction, but vision requires focus. To detach is to refuse distraction so that destiny can take root. Understand this. Chaos is temporary. No storm lasts forever. But if you attach yourself to every storm, you will live in endless struggle. Detachment gives you the strength to outlast the storm. You watch it pass without being carried away. You remain grounded while others are tossed about. And when the storm is gone, you are still standing, stronger than before. Detachment allows you to remain unbroken while everything around you shifts. The true measure of strength is not how much noise you can make, but how much noise you can withstand without losing peace. Detachment is this strength. It is the ability to remain calm in delay, to remain steady in uncertainty, to remain confident in the face of doubt. The detached one does not panic when things seem out of order, because they know order is already working unseen. They do not fight for control because they know control has already been given to them through alignment. Detach from chaos, and you will discover peace. Detach from noise, and you will discover clarity. Detach from struggle, and you will discover flow. Life was never meant to be lived in endless battle. Detachment is the key that unlocks ease. It is the calm assurance that what is yours cannot be taken, that what belongs to you will arrive, that what leaves was never meant to stay. The moment you embrace detachment, chaos loses all power over you, and peace becomes your permanent state. When you focus inward, you discover that all power flows from within to without. When you remain silent, you preserve your strength and let your words carry the weight of authority. When you place faith in the unseen, you align yourself with the eternal law that shapes all things. And when you detach from chaos, you refuse to be ruled by the noise of the world and instead stand in the clarity of peace. This is the path of alignment. Life is not conquered by chasing, by shouting, by worrying, or by clinging. Life is conquered by inner order, by stillness, by faith, by detachment. The outer world will always shift and change, but the one who has mastered the inner world cannot be moved. You do not need to fight for what is already yours. You do not need to fear delay or loss. The law is certain, as within, so without. Stand still. Focus on yourself. Keep silent when silence is strength. Believe in what cannot yet be seen. Refuse the pull of chaos. The moment you live by these truths, you rise above struggle and enter flow. Everything begins to align. Everything begins to arrange itself in your favor. The doors open, The way clears, the blessings appear. Do not look outside for what can only be found within. The kingdom is in you, the law is in you, the power is in you. Guard it, trust it, live it, and watch everything fall perfectly into place.